Wow. So, whew. I'll tell you, when every morning I do this, but some mornings are worse than others because of the day before, how aggressive it is the day before, or my activity out there. And so, although this might be annoying, it's so necessary if you want to save yourself and open up all the tubes in your body, and not only release the demons, but also take in information and assimilate to it. So you're not always resisting evolution and information. All right. So my husband went to his meeting yesterday. I didn't go because I just I knew we were going to go fishing, but then we didn't end up going fishing because we had other things that we were doing. And we went out to eat and everything. And so I was like, that was fine. I mean, I don't mind when plans change. And then we planned to go fishing today, but yesterday was just like, holy hell. Not like holy hell, like bad, but wow, it was something that I wasn't expecting to like feel. Because like we know about the haze, right? That was all over New York, and then the nitrous oxide turned everything orange, and everybody can speculate where the nitrous oxide comes from. And and so when you go outside, it doesn't seem like it's really anything, because like when I go outside, yeah, I see the smog, but I mean, I see it in the clouds, but it doesn't like I'm in it in my neighborhood, so I don't really see it, and I don't have other buildings and things and more energy from the bustling city to give me a different backdrop. So when my husband and I went to go eat lunch, brunch, whatever, and then went to go and pick up some items at the fishing store. And I was just, God, I was like, just, I don't say jittery, because I wouldn't even say I was jittery yesterday at the fish store. Actually, I was feeling a little bit anxious after when I was eating my food, and I know that he was done and I was still working on my food, and I was eating as fast as possible. I don't know why I felt pressured into like eating, like finishing my dinner or finishing my lunch. My husband was done eating his. And it was just like, I just felt pressured. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then we just go out and then we drive to the fish place, and I'm just like, just restless. And it was just such a weird feeling, but it wasn't like the jittery feeling like I felt before. It wasn't like feeling drunk. But then when we got to the cash register, I was just talking like out of my ass. Not really out of my ass, but I was just saying like, oh, maybe we should be like past Bass Pro Shop and do this. And like, why would you tell a competitor Bass Pro Shop that they should have a fish tank? I was just saying nonsensical shit that was just like, okay, why would you say that? That was kind of like random or something. But I just felt like I had to just talk and just release and talk. So I was like, kind of like intellectually throwing it up based upon the context of the situation. I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to go now. And we got done checking out. And then I was just in the car, and it just felt weird. Like I was looking at the skies and and it was all hazy. It was so bright out yesterday, like so fucking bright out yesterday. It was like I was squinting. I was feeling a weird way. Like I had so much energy in my head. Like I feel like it, like I won't say things were falling apart. No, it's not like that where you think like, oh my God, the world's falling apart. It's like you're fighting to keep yourselves together, but in a really weird way. Not in the way like a sickness. I didn't feel sick. I just felt disoriented a little bit. And yeah, I'd walk we'd walk to the parking lot. I'm looking and I'm just feeling so weird. I mean, not only do I feel a little bit heavy after eating the food, but I just felt like, but we also visited a house that we were going to check out. And I was feeling energetic at that time. I was like, wow, I mean, we're walking up and down, and I'm just like energetic too. So we were doing that. Visit the house. We went to eat. Then we went to the fish store. So many different places, and there's so many fluctuating energy. And of course, me as a woman with reproductive system, like, ovaries and all that, and uterus, I'm feeling it more than my husband. My husband's, I mean, I wouldn't say that he's assimilated. No, he's in a cured state. Okay, it's just another day to him. For me, I'm very aware of the frequency shift. He's going out, in and out, in and out, and he's in a cured state. He's a dude. And it might be a little bit different for, and he's type O and he feels stuff, but he doesn't feel that stuff like I do on a different level. So yeah, I was like, holy shit. So I felt like just weirder than usual. And people think like, well, you're weird anyways, but no, weirder than usual. And so when I got home, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna lay on this couch. I'm gonna watch this movie on Netflix and just chill the hell out. And my husband out there in the garage doing stuff. And I'm like, I was like a narcoleptic and I just fell asleep like that. And I was watching actually Independence Day Resurgence because I'm thinking, oh God, July 4th is coming up. What the hell does this New World Order have in store for us? And we're seeing all these alien agenda stuff and missing kids in Ohio, 30 kids missing in a span of 2 weeks. And of course, people, who are in the real religious world are like the Nephilim, the reptilians. And my husband was showing me YouTube videos that even in Vietnam, there's a deep 6-mile cave that sunk in and then sunlight got to it. A new forest is growing in a 3 million old cave. And someone said that reptilians live down in that cave based upon it was the History Channel and those alien dudes. What's his name? Tsoukalos, another dude that always talk about aliens on the History Channel. They were talking about like, oh yeah, there might be reptilians over there. And there's been sightings of reptilians, and then someone in Cleveland, Ohio saying, oh, there might be a reptilian eating children or being sacrificed or something. I'm like, geez, here we go, David Icke. I don't know. I mean, at this point, I don't deny things are happening that they could potentially, and I don't say it's actually so. I know that biotech can do whatever the fuck they want. Biotech can develop the island of Dr. Moreau. I know so many things can happen. I know that evolution is starting from, a singularity, not really singular, but if you want to say that a very small hydra is single, full of infinite amount of proteins. And then when it goes with another hydra and they come together, now they become a type of animal and a type of, a classification of animals, then, okay, anything can happen. The merging of animals and humans, the taking away of certain phenotypical characteristics can happen. You can have so many things. I mean, let me tell you, the possibilities of developing and breeding alien life forms on Earth, because we see skulls of them, so it means that they have a lifespan, is possible. Would I say they're immortal? Immortality is based upon your intellectual understanding of what it takes to stay alive, and then your intelligence, the ability to be able to read emotions out there. And if you're just intellectual but you're not really intelligent, then you're not going to read the emotions out there and you'll put yourself in danger. Because I'm going to tell you, emotional people are really emotional people are fucking dangerous. That's why you really must balance out the left brain, the right brain. So you have emotional intellect. So you're able to perceive a situation through logic and facts. So I won't say logic, because logic is all relative based upon whatever logic you're trying to put. But facts and concepts and calculated planning and emotions is having the emotions, being able to tap into your emotions so you can read the fucking room. So you can read what people are thinking. You can also even predict what they could possibly be reacting to, and also what their actions could be based upon their perception of you and perception of what's going on. And so that's and so you could biotech can develop emotional people, and they have. Look around you. Look how many people are so fucking emotional, but they don't have the intellect. And I'm gonna be really blunt. They don't have the intellect to understand and perceive in a calculated, conceptual, factual way, because they haven't done the studies. They haven't put in the time to study stuff. And so when someone is emotional and they've been programmed to be emotional, just like when you're saying that this person did this, and then you're showing movies of certain people that have a certain skin color doing things to certain people that have a skin color, and then that is a programming, that is a mind control, positive, negative reinforcement programming with images. So that's why you see me when I'm doing the Facebook Reels, and I'm I have these emotions because of I'm out in the environment. The frequencies are fucking insane, like I was yesterday, and I had this energy, but it wasn't like crazy energy. I woke up from that nap after just being zonked out, and I got an intellectual awareness about provocation. That's why I posted more about provocation, and then I was posting music and imagery to then tap into the emotional intelligence side that also juxtapositions with the intelligent, like I'll say emotional and with the intellectual side. I get intelligence and intellect, confused, but they are really different. Okay, so that's exercising both sides of the brain. Is when you're able to put music and images together that that looks like it's aligned with what you're talking about, where you're coming from, and it's based upon what, like your own emotions and your perspective. And then when you're also writing about things about how our society's been programmed to be so reactive, like literally reactive, and to the point of being dangerous, you're just like, holy crap. And that's when you got to be really careful out there, and you can't be intellectually handicapped, and you can't be emotionally handicapped. Like, again, like if you have not brought in the emotions, then you won't read the room and you won't recognize danger for what it is. And then if you're so emotional and not so much intellectual, then it just takes one person to trigger you. It just takes somebody looking like somebody that hurt you from the past to trigger the fuck out of you. It takes someone to say something about your kids, about your husband, your wife, your culture, which is why then certain populations have been triggered purposely, and they've been programmed purposely to get triggered like that. When someone says a certain word, triggered like that. When someone says a certain concept or brings up certain things, they are triggered like that. And that was programmed into that population. And so everything that we've come to know as far as history and our culture and our emotional state of being, whatever that is, was programmed into us. And if you want to see some kind of longevity in your family and some stability and potentially, I don't want to say immortality, but longevity. Immortality, yeah, it's all based on if the environment can hold life and you're not subject to something ground zero. But then you got to figure out how to release those demons of programming. Okay, like literally, that's what's going to fucking take you down, is the lack of emotional intelligence, and then the lack of intellectual capacity. That's what's going to fucking tear you down, because those who are so emotional, the intellectuals, are going to fucking fuck with you, and it's happening because the science does that shit. There are a bunch of intellectuals are fucking with the emotional people, and all the emotional people are fucking with the intellectuals. And they're dangerous because like Kaczynski, okay, he died in prison, 81 years old. He died in prison. He was an intellectual that then turned emotional because they fucked with him. They made him question every single fucking thing he ever did. And so then what did he do? He came back to all the scientists that messed with him and was doing all those different types of attacks from 1975 to 1990 something. Okay? And so, yeah, we have radicalized very intellectual people, made them extremely dangerous to emotional people, and we've radicalized emotional people against the intellectuals, and that's also the division that's going on. And so me being trained in both the intellect and the emotion, okay, and I probably could have died from the emotions out there if I hadn't released the demons with the J-Juice, or I would have. I don't know. If I hadn't discovered the J-Juice, I don't think my marriage would have survived. I don't think, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm so glad I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't discovered the J-Juice and released those fucking emotional demons. Because I had the intellect, but it was covered by all the fucked up emotions from all the trauma in the world. Okay? And that was yesterday's awareness, from being outside for that many, it was from like, what, 12 to about 11, 12 to about 3 or 4. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's 4 hours of being out in a highly, highly volatile, conductive environment. Highly volatile, conductive. To the point where I had to go home and fucking sleep. And it was like it was like I laid on the couch and I was out like that. Just like that. And I was still watching the movie. The movie was still going. It wasn't like I woke up 3 hours later because I didn't get enough sleep the night before. No, it was recovering from being out there, from those frequencies, the highly conductive atmosphere. And so the movie was about maybe 2 hours long. I may have slept for an hour and a half, but it was like I was dead to the world. That's what it was like last night when I fell asleep. On and off, on and off. But it was such I had dreams that I was going to like, oh, should I record this dream? I'm like, no, I don't really want to remember it. But it wasn't bad, but it was just like, okay. But it was a dream that was pretty distinct. And that was based upon just all the activity that then was finally being released through the energy of sleeping and everything coming back to order again. Because going out the environment, it's very chaotic. You have 69 trillion cells that are reacting and protecting you and bringing up immunological responses that sometimes is sleeping, sometimes it's hunger, because I was hungry last night around 9 o'clock at night. Okay, so we had like a late lunch. I didn't make dinner because I was knocked out on the couch and we weren't hungry. So I didn't make any dinner. So then around 9 o'clock at night, after I went to bed, because he was going to get up and go fishing this morning, because I chose not to go fishing. I'm like, I can't do this twice right now. But I ate like a salad and a bagel, and then I went to bed, and that's, and I was sleeping on and off and zonked for a couple hours, and I mean, I get good sleep at night, but I'm aware of how deep the sleep is, because I will watch a video and then all of a sudden I'll be out like that. But I was going to go fishing today because we didn't go yesterday because of things that we were going on. And I decided that no, because I got up late, even when my husband came upstairs to bring up the laundry basket, the clean laundry. And he woke me up, which is fine. I mean, because I was out, but then I heard him and I just my eyes just opened. And it was around 6 o'clock. Okay, and I was up probably a couple hours before that watching a video about 1975. And so I was like, go fishing, go take people fishing. I'm just, right now, I'm going to wait till next week if I'm going to do fishing, if I want to do fishing. So, yeah, let me just blow my nose. Oh, my God. And this is what's required. You have to literally blow your nose in this environment. This is what's really, really required. And I had ice cream last night for dinner, or for dessert. So, and then eating more after that. And so, okay, so after going out to eat with my husband, going to the store, oh my God, I felt like energy out there. Felt the energy out there, and I had to nap. Okay. The energy at home is so much different. And so, yeah, I noticed that being out in public today outside is extremely bright. Very, very bright and very conductive. And so, John, thanks for that word, conductive. I appreciate that word. Okay, and so what I said about does intellectually mean smart, intellectual means you understand certain facts. You've done the studies, you understand the foundation, the universal foundation that you can develop and evolve from. Because if you don't have a universal foundation, you have chaos. So academia is great for a foundation, but when it becomes the perspectives, the solutions, the problems, because all problems are perceived, all solutions are perceived. Okay? And so academia develops problems, whatever they are, and they develop solutions, whatever they are. It doesn't mean that it's really a problem. It's just someone made it a problem. That people make life a problem. When people are pathologizing life, academia pathologizes life. On one hand, yes, life is great as long as you are producing and you are a productive person. On the other side of it, academia pathologizes life, and they develop oncology and herbal remedies and tinctures and detoxes and all these things to then attack life. And so then academia also can develop problems, but maybe that problem is necessary to develop, because if you have so many people, like 48 volts of people walking all the time, 48 volts of a person picking up a step, and you times that to infinite, because you have 8 billion people walking at different times of the day and night. That's a lot of energy that they are emitting out there in the universe. And when you have 12.9 and 50 billion people and 60 and 70, 80 billion people walking and using up energy and developing energy, that's a type of cannibalization. That's a type of consumerism that could develop extinction. Okay. So yeah, academia is not horrible, but you have to understand what they're doing. And if you don't have the intellect, if you don't have the intellectual capacity to understand what's going on, then you will be run by emotions and controlled by your emotions. And that's exactly what's going on. Politics, religions, all religions, today's Sunday, and science dogmas. Okay? And there's a lot of intellectuals in academia. And they also know how to program emotional people. And even people, but then there's a lot of intellectuals that also know about how to program emotions, and then they also get programmed themselves, because then the academia then also even programs themselves to program other people using their emotions. And sometimes people who think that they're not as emotional, they're more intellectual, they're actually more emotional because someone exploited their emotions, giving them a glimpse of intellectual capacity in one area or two areas. That's the majors in college. That's the minors in college. You're an emotional person, and they're like, they're going to give you a little bit of glimpses of intellect. And you think, oh God, I discovered the Holy Grail. I know more than you. And then they use that as a weapon against people who don't know. And then they're imperious. They act like they're better than other people. Oh, I have a fucking degree. It means I'm better than you. Oh, I have 5 degrees. It means I was given access to intellectual awareness and capacity. No, you've been programmed. Because what you're doing is just carrying out somebody else's agenda. You haven't discovered this on your own. You were given this information. Maybe, you paid for it, but you paid for it with an understanding that you were going to regurgitate whatever the fuck they taught you. At some point, after everything is said and done, are you able to now take what you've learned and reconfigure it, redevelop it? But no, some people just stay in that programming, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm better than you. I have a fucking degree. And they'll die with that perception about themselves. And so then they lack the intellectual capacity to evolve. And then you're like, yeah, so it was all that intelligence, or it was all that intellect for if you can't evolve it. That's what some of these high degree people who are PhDs, they lack the ability to evolve if they can't take in information from someone who doesn't have the kind of degree they have, because they've been taught that they're better because they were exposed to something that somebody else may not have been exposed to because of privilege and opportunity and so many things. All right. So does intellectual mean smart? An intelligent person is often driven by feelings and desires to expand their knowledge, whereas an intellectual uses facts to make calculated decisions based upon sound judgment. I mean, everything is still relative in perception. But intellect is taking academic foundations, like literally like 1 + 1 = 2, and evolving it. And evolving it based upon emotion, but also using fact. What's a fact? 1 + 1 = 2. That's a fact. 1 + 1 does not equal 10. But people will say that. And they'll make up their own fucking foundation, and that's where chaos comes from. But 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, that's a fucking fact. No one can dispute that. I'm sorry. All right, so an intelligent person also has the innate ability to adapt to new situations and learn new skills easily. All right? And so even people who think they're intellectual are really emotional because they lack balance. I don't even say compassion, because what does that mean? There's still an edge to them. Got to soften the edges. So a lot of intellectuals need to learn how to soften the edges. So then they borderline them being emotional, which is angry, vindictive, mean, insulting. And I've borderlined or have been that myself, so believe me, I know. And so it's learning how to soften the edges of our intellectual capacity. So you have a little bit of emotion, okay, and understand why shit happened. And it also brings forth tolerance in everything. And then you realize that no ideas out there are dangerous unless you haven't taught your kids and yourself how to navigate danger. Just simply as somebody's lifestyle. Now, when it comes to the hormones out there, straight sex and gay sex are basically the same thing. You're bringing up emotions and hormones. When you're living from straight sex as an identity or gay sex as an identity, that right there in of itself is emotional. The fact that, that's even an issue that someone is going to expose somebody to something that's opposite of your belief system. Okay? It's a knowledge of different sexual orientations and how they live and what they look like is not necessarily dangerous. It's the fact that have you taught your kids that maybe there's a higher form of intelligence and intellect other than coming from your reproductive hormones. That is definitely an awareness that is lost on people who are still identifying with genders, yes, but also with sexual orientation. So just be aware of that you can be an intellectual person, but when you're adopting, again, sexual orientation, then which one is going to supersede the other? And to what level? To the point where then the edges become really, really sharp. And then it then goes into intolerance. All right? And so we have emotional people who lack the intellect that are very much into sexual orientation and belief systems and feel that anything that's different is dangerous and all of that. And so we have a lot of crap out there in this world that needs to be cleaned up. And anyone pointing this out is not really the enemy. Anyone pointing this out is just identifying where we can re-examine how we interact with the world, how we can give ourselves and our kids a different platform to work from, so that way they can compete in this next world that's going to be extremely, extremely diverse. And if you're going to survive in a diverse world, you got to have tolerance in evolution. As far as the microbes, but you got to have tolerance in the ideas that are brought forth to you, that are going to be introduced to you, your kids at some point. And then you, mom and dad, how you react to the new information is going to be everything. How your kids are going to be either weaponized against people, or they're going to be a gift to the system of tolerance, diversity, innovation, and freedom, and just peace. Okay? And so intelligently intellectual might be the best of both worlds, left and right-brained. So the system has developed extremely left-brained people and extremely right-brained people. And then again, at war with each other. And again, when you are more intellectual than you are intelligent, then you'll do things to people. Okay, you'll do things to people based upon facts, like what's going on with this climate change. But again, that's necessary. That's keeping the balance so you don't develop extinction. But then the emotional side is, oh my God. Oh my God. So then how are you going to tap into your intellectual side to understand what's going on so you're not attacking the intellectuals? That you understand from the emotional standpoint and the intellectual standpoint. And how do you save yourself? It's not about attacking anyone emotional or anyone intellectual. Introducing anything, any change in the environment. It's you understanding how do you develop tolerance within yourself to give yourself a chance to give your kids a chance. And yeah. And so right now we're in fucking El Nino. This is crazy. I remember El Nino in the 1980s. Okay? In the 1980s. And I remember that. I remember that because the storms were insane. When I was going home, when I was a latchkey kid, and I'm taking the key out from the drain pipe from behind the bushes by the hose in Saratoga, and I'm looking up the sky and I see cracks of thunder. I see cracks of lightning and thunder, and I'm just scared freaking shitless. It's raining, it's storming, it's loud, and I'm first grade, second grade, or whatever, third grade, third grade probably. And I'm just like, oh my God. And so we're in for some shit. It's going to be more so. And so be warned, the worst there ever was. The dark red shows the drastic rise in degrees Celsius of sea surface temperatures during 1982-1983 El Nino, courtesy of the Center for Climate Analysis. The 1982-1983 El Nino was the strongest and most devastating of the century, perhaps the worst in recorded history. During that period, trade winds not only collapsed, they reversed. Its effects were long-lasting as well. 12 years later, a wave of warm water from the 1982 El Nino lived on. In 1994, it measured only 8 inches high and traveled about 5 miles an hour. Wow. It caused weather-related disasters on almost every continent. Australia, Africa, Indonesia suffered droughts, dust storms, and brush fires. Peru was hit with the heaviest rainfall in recorded history, to 11 feet in areas where 6 inches was the norm. Some rivers carried 1,000 times their normal flow. Okay, and they just said now officially we're in El Nino. Man, I'm sure back then, 1982, the weathers were also contrived and manipulated on some level, but you just didn't know it. It wasn't talked about. The conspiracy world really wasn't around. If they were, you would never know because it wasn't in the mainstream papers. There wasn't an internet back in 1982 where people traded information. I'm sure people that are part of all that stuff watching that were like, oh shit, amongst each other, but they couldn't go and just say it, or they'd be laughed off, or somebody was silencing them with some kind of NDA or something. Okay, and so the event was blamed for between 1,300 and 2,000 deaths and more than $13 billion in damage to property and livelihoods. 1,300 to 2,000 deaths, and then we're looking at 9/11, 2,000 deaths, 3,000 deaths. All right. During this period of thermocline of the South American coast dropped about 500 feet. On September 24th, in just 24 hours, a sea surface temperature along the coastal village of Paita, Peru, shot up to 7.2 degrees Fahrenheit. And so there were also secondary problems caused by the 1982-83 El Nino encephalitis outbreak on the east coast of the U.S., attributed to a warm, wet spring perfect for mosquitoes. Increased snake bites in Montana as the hot, dry weather drove mice from high elevations downward in search of food and water. The rattlesnakes followed. A rise in bubonic plague in New Mexico, with cool, wet spring providing favorable conditions for flea-ridden rodents. An increase in shark attacks off the Oregon coast due to unseasonably warm sea temperatures, and a rash of spine injuries in California as weather-altered coastal seafloors fooled surfers. So you're seeing shark attacks, orca attacks, animal attacks. All right, we're heading into some shit here, guys, okay? So some meteorologists have tied El Nino to above normal temperatures recorded in Alaska and northwest Canada. Ooh, HARP. I wonder, HARP. And northwestern Canada, and a reduction in the salmon harvest. In the eastern U.S., it was the warmest winters in 25 years. And perhaps the most striking effect of the 1982-83 El Nino was recorded by David Salstein and Richard Ruston of Atmospheric and Environmental Research in Cambridge, Massachusetts. They found the angular momentum of the Earth shifted slightly as a result of changes in the normal pattern of jet stream and trade winds. In late January, El Nino's peak, the day length strengthened by 0.2 milliseconds. So we're headed into some, and that was the worst in that century. This might top. What's going on right now might even top what was going on back then in 1982. And that was right before then the AIDS epidemic. 82, 83, then you have 1984, 85, and you have AIDS. The hits just keep on hitting. But here's the thing, that's all innovation. All this suffering and all this change is going to develop innovation. Saw what happened yesterday. After I went through those 3 hours of being outside in a really highly conductive environment, And I felt it. It was insanely strange. When I fell asleep and I woke up, I had an epiphany about provocation and how we've been programmed to react with violence, and then someone punishing us for reacting with violence, not using words. Okay? And so Frederick Douglass said something about levels of knowledge in jail. And so I said different levels of jail slavery is relative to different levels of knowledge. Okay, so you could be in jail by the kind of knowledge that you have. And if you don't have a lot of knowledge or intellectual capacity, then you'll be in jail of your emotions. And that's what's going on, is people are in jail of their emotions. Either they're full of sex, that's a jail in itself, all about the sex and their hormones because they can't release those demons. Or they're always triggered by something racial, or they're always triggered by something about food. And so people are emotional about food, emotional about the New World Order, about right wing, left wing. You've been radicalized, you've been radicalized around those emotions, around politics, around religion. Today is Sunday. The emotions are coming out in church and or people preaching to each other about the word of God. And that brings up emotion of love and all the things that go along with the religion. And so we talk about provocation. I wrote a word about provocation. Okay. Hold on, let me read something. I'll read that in a minute. I'm going to find what initially, I think I wrote something. Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. Provocation. This was my epiphany yesterday. When someone physically attacks you with no provocation, you have a right to feel any way about them. When someone says something about you, regardless of what it is, you don't have the right to attack back. They may be fighting words, but you have the ability to walk away, block, and delete. That's why I knew if I went to court with anyone regarding defamation and all that stuff, and I had to prove that I actually lost money from that, but I'd also have to prove that they came to my house and provoked me at my house. Me just going to their page and saying I don't like what you said does not warrant it's not going to hold up in court. You're not going to win that case, okay? So if someone has an opinion about you, it does not warrant anything but block and delete and use words. Okay, so when someone says about you, okay, when someone says something about you, regardless of what it is, you don't have the right to attack back. They may be fighting words, but you have the ability to walk away, block, and delete. There was no provocation, really. Words, yeah, I know words hurt, but if it's not your parents and you can't walk away from them, then yeah, there's where you have a case of, verbal abuse. But if you have ability to block and delete and not read emails or you're in an open space and someone says, oh, you're this, you're that, you have every right to retreat and to walk away. And if you're cornered, then that's when, that violent words when you're cornered, no one deserves to be verbally abused, okay? So we have been conditioned to attack people who use certain words. It's not nice using words that are made to attack people's spirit, but we have the responsibility to control our reaction and let authority deal with how they want to control provocative words. And so extremely civil and intelligent and intellectual people use words. But see, I didn't want to say intelligent because that's emotional. I want to say intellectual. So I would have to actually write that differently. Extremely civil and intellectually intelligent people use words, not their fists. Okay? I mean, yeah, if you're out there in the open square, public square, and someone attacks you, then yeah, you do your martial arts, like John says, do the defensive motions. But you don't attack with defending people. You don't attack someone with your defense. Okay? And that's like a hard thing to wrap your mind around, because people think that, oh, someone said something, they're going to do this, until it's actually been launched. But do you want to wait for that? That's where we have to look at history. But even then, is history enough of an indicator for us to do a preemptive strike because someone used words? Well, yeah. That's when you have to have certain things to sense triggers, and then you have your own defense systems go and neutralize that target or that thing that's targeting you. So, and that's all. Holy shit. Okay, so when people say there are no men in this world to defend from what's going on, I see it in the chemtrails world. They're like, where are all the men in the world? Why aren't they rising up and fighting? Like, okay, they did that in January 6th. Guess what that got them? It got people killed. Okay. And no one, and the people that they were after, they didn't get to them. But the people that were fighting against whatever they thought was wrong, some of them were killed. And then you saw how many men in this world will be radicalized and go fight for something because some intellectual figure out how to control their emotions. That's what's going on in the chemtrails world. That's going on in every single activist thing. Some intellectual figured out a hot button and they capitalized the fuck out of those hot buttons. And now you're seeing it all over Facebook. And then you saw what happened January 6th. You saw the radicalization of the right wing. And right now, Trump, bless his heart, because I think he means well. I don't really think he's a puppet. I think he means well. But he also was given so many opportunities in the 1980s with all the buildings and everything that he was exposed to, or he got to do. All right. But he has under 37 counts of mishandling classified information. Okay. And now, was that contrived? Was that planned? Was that, who the fuck knows? Is this how we wanted to go down in history? No. Absolutely not. This is not something that, I mean, even though you could say, oh, well, he signed a contract with the Illuminati that eventually he'll rise and then he'll fall and his fall will be so great and it'll be around the elections and politics. But I'll tell you, a lot of these people that were given opportunities, here, we'll give you everything you want. You do this, you do that, show us the loopholes, show us how people can make money and take advantage of other people. And they do, and they're given everything. And then when you're given everything and you're able to play in the gray areas of the law to the point of breaking the law, but no one says anything. No one holds you accountable. You're like, oh, hey, great, I'm home free. No, they're just waiting for enough ROPE to HANG yourself. So be careful of thinking that you can get away with shit, because it ain't going to happen for long. Eventually, the tides are going to fucking turn. And the tides have turned against all these Hollywood stars that thought they were above the law, above reproach. And also Trump. And you saw even, certain people in the intellectual community like Bill Gates tied to people like Epstein, who was probably used as a tool to blackmail people and have something hold them over a barrel. I'll tell you, when there are people who understand the human condition and they can orchestrate anything they want, and they can engineer everything they want, anything they want, bioengineer, engineer infrastructure and people. And they know how people's reactions and how radicalized they can be. And they also know how strong their sex drive is. And they know how to program them. When you're given so much, even right now, those who make a lot of money, oh, you're fucking pigeonholed. Because you can't get out of what you're doing. Because then once you finally wake up to what you're doing, can you look at yourself in the morning? When you wake up every morning and you're a surgeon and you're cutting into people, causing trauma. When you wake up to what you're doing and you're making $300,000, $400,000 a year, and you have so many people on your Facebook that love you, think you're like the next great thing to slice bread. Your kids love you. Your neighbors love you. You have a nice house. 5 million cars. You really fucking think you're going to just say, okay, I'm going to give this up and give up all of that? No, now you're trapped. You can't, even if you try to release those demons, but once you do release the demons, then could you wake up in the morning and face what you've done and what you're doing? No, so you have to be under the influence. So, less emotional and highly intellectual, so that you can do your fucking job, so you don't die from the emotions of what it is. Like, you won't emotionally die from what it is that you're doing to people every single day when you cut into them. That's how we've been programmed. And so extremely intellectual people can be very dangerous, and extremely emotional people can be very dangerous. And balancing out both sides of your brain, you will see the danger for what it is, and then you're like, holy shit. That's why everyone's under the fucking influence. They can't handle not only the evolution that's going on, but could they really handle what they've done in this world with their families, with their kids, with their husbands and wives? Because they were told this, and then when they find out that, oh my God, and they inherited some of those behaviors from their parents, but they love their mom and dad. They can't go and blame them. Oh, that's what's going on here. All right. So we have been conditioned to attack people who use certain words, not nice using words that are made to attack people's spirit. We have the responsibility to control our reaction and let authority deal with how they want to control provocative words. So extremely civil and intellectually intelligent people use words. When people say there are no men in this world to defend from what's going on, what are you doing? Inciting an attack. What are you doing? What you're doing is inciting an attack. And that's what happened in January 6th. Not only Alex Jones was part of that, but also Trump. Okay. And people in his corner. So how does one use words to save oneself from what one thinks is a physical attack, but not like battlefield attack, without recommending using something to attack the personal body personally? Okay, that's something you're going to have to figure out, how you can release those demons. And it could seem like an attack to you because you feel pain. No, you've been attacking your body your whole life with all the herbs, the extracts, the supplements, the pills, the powders, the detoxes, all the surgeries, all the energy healing rife machines, people playing with your body, with the chakras, all the massage therapy. You have been attacked your whole fucking life. And so the art of war is the enemy causing the people to self-destruct by using destructive ways to take themselves down out of existence, literally. When you're making the choice to go to that doctor, when you're making the choice to go to that homeopathic, when you're making that choice to go get that surgery, when you're making that choice to take that highly aggressive, highly mineralized, highly heavy metal detox because you're afraid of the chemtrails, are all full of the same fucking shit that's in that detox, that's in that whatever supplement. You are now being instructed to attack yourself at the micro level. And so you want men to defend life when men have been taught to physically attack bodies, minds, and spirits? Well, when men have sex with women, they're attacking the pussy, okay? All right? When men don't like what other men say and there's fighting words, they're going to go to blows. Look at the bars, all the bar fights. Someone says something, alcohol gets in, oh, here we go. Okay, so men have been conditioned to physically attack things. Women have been conditioned to emotionally attack things. That's why all the fucking mind games when it comes to women. They will recommend concoctions to attack the body, mind, and spirit, as well as physically pick up arms. That was the brainwashing and is the brainwashing. Wow, that's fucking insane. Okay, so then I wrote something on top of that, in addendum to that. Oh, Lordy. But this is really, really, really interesting. I'm telling you, understanding what's going on is like fucking amazing. I would not trade this for the world. I would never, ever trade this for the world. The art of war. Using words to trigger people into attacking other people and themselves. What is Sun Tzu's famous quote? If you know the enemy and know yourself, no need to fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. And that's what's going on right. People don't even know who the fucking enemy is because they think they've been given an enemy, Satan. They've been given an enemy. Those people over there across the way, they've been given an enemy. Those people that have a different skin color, everyone's been given an enemy, right? So you don't even know who the enemy is because you're actually the enemy to yourself, but you're always projecting that someone over there is the enemy. Yeah, Sun Tzu is exactly right. If you don't even know who the enemy is, forget it. And if someone is giving you the enemy, okay. So if you are near the enemy, make him believe you are far from him. So this is from the perspective of someone declaring war on somebody. If you are near the enemy, make him believe you are far from him. If you are far from the enemy, make him believe you are now near to him. You are near. Okay? And so right now, people are the enemy to themselves, but they think that the enemy is someone over there in biotech. They think the enemy is someone over there in Wright-Patterson Air Force with all the chemtrail planes. They think the enemy is, I don't know, somewhere over there in Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, right? But really, the people are their own enemy. So January 6th was evidence enough to have people attack something with no provocation, and words are not enough. Rumors are not enough. And so you see what Alex Jones does. He gets people whipped up with all those words, and he knows the emotions. But he also is emotional himself. So no one came to their house. No one came to Alex Jones' house, right? No one came to any one of those houses over there on January 6th and attacked them on their own property. No one came onto your property. So really, when you think about what happened on January 6th, and if you entered into the building to actually cause an attack to someone, that was premeditated. And if someone ended up dying because you wanted to attack them for what you thought was going to happen, that would be premeditated murder. So no one came into their house and attacked them on their own property. But when people have been radicalized and the fears are so palpable in their minds, preemptive strike is justifiable to keep the peace through war. But we have laws in our land. Someone says that even that, Israel does preemptive strikes against Palestine. I don't know about that. I know they react. I know they retaliate. And so because someone throws bottles, does that warrant a larger weapon? Yeah, they're trying to neutralize someone who's throwing bottles at their settlers, which I know people are like, well, we don't like to have the settlers take away land from Palestine and all this other stuff. And that's a whole political thing that I don't even want to get involved with. But there is that where I think Israel was accused of doing preemptive strikes. But that's the thing. So everything is reacting to something, just a matter of what it is and does it warrant that kind of reaction. And that's politics, okay? And so in their minds, preemptive strikes. So when people have been radicalized and the fears are so palpable, in their minds, preemptive strikes is justifiable to keep the peace through war. But we have laws in our land, and that's not peace. And so that's not going to fly, and that was for a reason. That's why you must understand the law. You must understand biology. You must understand physics, and you must understand the psychological programming and radicalization of people. Okay? And that's wow. So now you understand why the men are going to they're going to attempt to phase the men out because of the programming of the physical reactions as well, the physical violent reactions against something they deem as danger, as the enemy. And so that's probably why you're seeing more of the effeminization of men, because you're trying to instill more emotions that aren't going to be then translated into physical violence. And and so then that's probably why the porn industry then try to turn men very sexual. So if they're going to act out their physical energy of wanting to release the demons, that it be done through sex, but then that also can be radicalized and turned into sexual deviation and sex crimes and stuff. So it's I'll tell you, yeah, we're in a great reset for a reason, okay? There's a lot of crap out there. But I wanted to point out that going through the sickness, going through the suffering, through your own predisposed issues, and your recording and your journey, and also trying to find a purpose in your life too. And sometimes your kids are your purpose, and I get it. But some of you don't have like kids, like young kids. You have older kids that you cater to. But while you're going through the suffering, through you releasing the demons, definitely find things that will give you a purpose to get up in the morning and be excited about. Because, yeah, suffering in and of itself is not fun. It's how are you going to channel that suffering into something amazing that's going to give you a great return on this investment. It's all about ROI. This is all financial. If you're going to suffer, make it work to your benefit. Make sure that return on that investment of suffering, of pulling yourself out of extra fun social occasions, is going to be worth something. Not only today, but even in the future. Okay? And if that is not attractive to you, and you want everything now, and you don't want to have to suffer, and you want to push back all that stuff that you know you're going to have to deal with, go have fun. We thank you for your service. You are a part of the transition. So while we're taking a back seat over here, okay, and we're letting the suffering come out, we're developing innovation, developing the new world as we're suffering. We're seeing things for what they are. We've been ashamed of our behaviors and ashamed of so many things that we've done that we were programmed to do, and we're getting complete with it and reconciling with it. And while you guys who haven't dealt with your shit, which, okay, but you're out there going to work every day and toiling in the fields and doing the things that you have to do to keep the things going, we also thank you, but don't denigrate us because we chose to take a back seat in everything. We chose to stay home. We chose not to go to that 9-to-5 job because it would take away from us developing ourselves for the future. And we've been given that choice. And you are also being given a choice. If you choose not to deal with your shit, if you choose to go out there and work every single day because you want the money or you need the money, and then you got to look and take inventory how much you actually need, what you've brought into your life to require you to work 9 to 5. And don't get mad at those that say, okay, I'm chilling the fuck out. I got to save myself. Don't get mad at them. Because you've made a choice, I've made a choice. And we're both contributing something to our society. And if people stay home and they don't end up surviving and changing themselves, and that's fine. Because the people who stay home that are still doing stuff are contributing something. What are they contributing if they're on welfare or if they're on Section 8 housing or something? Their energy, their 48 volts of energy has then given the energy that helped me make these awarenesses. Like every single person's energy, regardless of if it's positive or negative, was a factor in me figuring some stuff out even yesterday. Every single person that I was in view of or not in view of. And so everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a space until they don't. And they're the ones that will be the one to determine how much space and how much role they play in this world that we live in. All right. So remember, balance out your intelligence and your intellect. Because that's what's being weaponized against you if you don't understand what's going on. And utilize Facebook Reels. Find the color. Find the emotions. And then feed your brain cold, hard concepts. Learn something new. Learn a new formula. Learn how to write expanded notation if you haven't done that. Learn everything. All right, bye.